Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Lee, and we are on the game of tongues, where we work on speech anxiety in all its gross forms. And right now, we're talking with my buddy from Indiana, Daniel. Say hello, Daniel.
Hey guys. Sorry,
Okay.
I just had got a notification. I was a little confused. I got a notification at the same time,
Oh,
so it
you
kind
did?
of
Okay.
paused.
That's
Yeah,
all
like just froze
right.
the screen. Yeah.
He was distracted. Oh, no. We don't allow that here. Pay attention, pupil.
Sorry, sorry. I had to turn it off. Yeah.
Daniel is the ripe old age of 18, and he been stuttering since he was 11 to 85% of his words. I'm looking at his notes, and he um, he let's see. I think I'll just. This is our first, second. This is our third Skype. So I will begin by we started in pretty recently. We started in on February 8th, and so I'll ask Daniel, what have you been doing for your speech for the past week? What have you been doing every day to help your speech?
I've been continuing well, I mean, I've been like constantly just trying to read out loud, like it's everything I read, whether that be an email, like like website I go to, uh, like the book, actually like stuttering whatever. I'm also trying to practice, like just like the first crutch, I'd say once per every 3 pages or once per 2 pages. I should try, like in order to implement that same crutch in every single word, to really kind of get in my system. Like I've also been doing auto suggestions, like at least 2 times a day. Like and sometimes when I'm driving on my own, like in the car, I'll repeat those same kind of auto suggestions in the car. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing like much of that. I've been also trying to kind of participate more in the class kind of discussions because a very you know like I like tend to like avoid like like to like speak in those like pressured situations because I don't want to kind of compound my like stuttering memories whatever.
Understood. I did the
So
same
I mean,
thing.
yeah, but I mean like I like thought that it would help to an extent, but I realized that staying totally silent has kind of prevented me from like fully kind of expressing my personality and character. So I would kind of want to ease back into that slowly, and that's my method to that.
Um, what crutches are you using, and then what? Can you tell us what crutches you're using?
I use crutches number 1, 2, 4, and 5, and and also extreme pronunciation, which is crutch 9, I think.
Okay. Could you tell us what those crutches are? I know, but let's just
Yeah,
hear.
sure.
Let me hear
Um,
you tell me.
yeah, sure. Okay, like so crutch 1 is to actually kind of skip the first syllable or letter of each word and to kind of pass over it. Um,
Could you
the
demonstrate
the
it?
second crutch, so actually like a rutch, like it was
Give me a
actually
sentence,
supposed to.
or give me a sentence or two, and
Okay,
drop some.
um, I went to the all today, um, um, because I needed to buy more clothes. Like,
Perfect.
sorry, I mean, sorry.
That's it.
Like, I yes, because I was trying to come up with a sentence on the spot.
That's
Sorry,
fine. That's good. That's good. Good, Daniel.
I have to still work on that. Yeah.
How about number three?
Oh, I didn't like use number 3 that
Oh, you didn't
much.
use number three. I'm sorry. Number
Two,
number four.
two.
Two. I know
Oh,
it's using
okay.
synonyms,
4.
similar words.
Um, well, I mean, like I would just like start like sentence with so or
Well, let's say
and
I ask you your name and show me crutch number four. What's your name and use crutch number four?
they call me Daniel.
Okay. All right. And now do it with a sound. What's your name?
Daniel.
Okay, but you should connect the A and the D. Daniel. Daniel, the hum should go right into the letter.
Daniel.
Good, because if there's any break, there's a chance of a problem. But if you have no break, there's no chance of a problem. Zero.
Okay.
I mean, people say the crutch doesn't work. It does work, but if you have a space, it won't work. It may not work. So that's good. Okay, that's crutch 4. Crutch 5. What is crutch number 5?
Um, I actually used crutch number 6. Sorry if I used.
Okay.
I said crutch number 6 instead of 5, I think.
Okay, and what is that?
It's to rephrase like an entire thought. So I mean, if I
Okay.
get stuck on the first like word of a like some question I'll propose to the teacher, I'll kind of rephrase it.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's kind of on the spot thinking. If I was in that situation,
Perfect.
I'll just kind of automatically come up with a rephrasing thought. And I've been like 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 I've been doing this for like many months prior to this. Like it's already kind of ingrained. It's just that now that I can recognize a crutch for that, like that's also been, kind of like diverting my attention to that too.
Yeah.
So I've been working like on that more specifically.
Okay. And crutch number 9, what's that?
It's going to be extreme like pronunciation. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's basically trying to
You want
pronounce every word
you want to
like this.
demonstrate that for us?
Sure. I mean, right now I'm trying to use extreme pronunciation to express my thoughts and not concentrate on the fear of the word or on the potential humiliation caused by that.
Good. Perfect. Now, when you came to us originally, you'd said, as I mentioned earlier, you had stuttered as much as 85% of the words under pressure. What do you think you're doing now? I don't mean this minute. I mean the past week.
Well, um, I've been doing better, especially in the class situations. I've been asking more questions, and I've experienced less, like, sort of hesitations or blocks, I would say. So, I think I am dealing better when talking to strangers, I think, but I would still kind of have some trouble, and I would kind of stay silent as a result. So that's like kind of my like crutch, kind of like avoid the situation. So I'm not entirely sure as to how exactly I would do if I was put in that situation and forced to talk with somebody.
So, let me put it differently then. Um, Compared to before you read my book, um, can you put a percentage roughly? Don't put one if you can't. A percentage of improvement? Can you? If you can't, that's fine. I'll
hmm
ask you
I would
differently.
I would say about 15 to 20% improvements thus far.
Um, that doesn't make me real happy. 15 to 20% isn't a lot, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's okay because I know that like as because my problem isn't as bad, I would say, like to start off with. I'm
Yeah,
just kind of, it's not severe to begin off. So
yeah.
I think that if like okay, if my problem was more severe, I think to begin with, it would probably be much more like, like big improvement. But I like just feel that like it takes time, I think, like to kind of relieve the like fear behind it. So I
No,
would
I
say
didn't
that
ask you about the fear. That's not fair, because I didn't ask you about fear.
oh,
Um, I asked
just
you.
like
Well, let me rephrase the question. I didn't put it
oh,
well.
okay.
I
Sorry.
didn't ask you a good question.
Oh, okay.
Exempting the element of fear, because I had fear for 10 years after I stopped stuttering. But stuttering
Okay.
is not is fear is not stuttering. I didn't stutter the
Okay.
entire time. I had
Okay.
nobody ever thought I stuttered, but I had my problems, and I had many ways of solving them. For
Okay.
example, when I
Okay.
gave a speech, which I did all the time, I would triple space my speech, and above the words that I thought I might stutter, I'd put 2 or 3 synonyms just
Mhm.
in case. So I was always working. I was always working my crutches. In the whole time. But fear was there. That was fine. But it got less and less and less and less until it went
Mhm.
away. But let me ask the question differently. If you were stuttering 85% of the time under pressure, before you read my book and so forth, What are you stuttering under pressure now?
Well, by stuttering, I would mean you would say probably blocking because like I'll not even be able to say the word. But I would say that in that case, um, maybe about 30%,
You say it's
maybe.
about 30 instead of 85.
Yeah, like about like 30-40%, I would say.
Right, that's
That just yeah, I mean, I'll then like use a crutch obviously and just like completely like just rephrase it. But in terms of like that speech incident where I'm blocking, I would characterize that as part of that.
I when I say stuttering, I'm including repeats and blocking both.
Hmm. Oh,
Silence
okay.
is a separate issue, but it counts as a disability if it's too long, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. On that case, it'll probably be around, I'd say like 50 to 40%.
are you having any in the past week bad incidents where you appeared disabled, clearly disabled, to a stranger?
Um,
Your silences
no.
may not be detectable. They may or may not be. It
Yeah,
depends
yeah,
on the situation. If you're
yeah.
standing in roll call and it comes your turn to say your name and nothing comes out, that counts.
Oh,
If you're
okay,
simply
okay.
not answering, volunteering in class, that doesn't count for the moment as a disability, as showing a disability.
Okay.
So I'm asking you, where did you show disability in the past? Did you have any of those?
No, I mean, not really, because I'm just good at like it's 'cause I'm just really good at kind of hiding it. So I mean, no, like I haven't had any instance where I appear to be disabled to the speaker. I mean, if someone maybe asked them, does this person stutter? This person have a speech, like problem, whatever, they would probably say, I don't know, you know.
Yeah. Now, when's the last time you can remember appearing speech disabled?
Mm, I'm not sure. Uh,
Months?
I'm not sure. Well, I'm assuming that like
I'm not
I've
counting the
had,
silences. We'll get to that in
yeah,
a
yeah,
minute.
sure. Okay. Um, maybe I'll say like in the past several months, you're saying, or the past month in general.
I said, when do you remember your last speech incident? So yesterday, a
Um,
month ago, 3 months, 6 months. You remember? When do you remember? Can you
I
remember?
think like yeah, yeah. I I think when I was talking to my mom like 1 week ago about something, I was kind of like it was an abnormal silence, and then I kind of broke that by like by keep going on speaking or whatever. So I mean, I would say maybe once in the past 2 weeks.
But that's something that was noticeable to the listener.
I can't remember it on that case. I can't
Okay,
remember
does
exactly.
remember? Can't remember. Um, okay, I'm going to put that down. Last bad incident, can't remember because that's what you're saying. Uh, by my definition. Now we'll talk about silences. Uh, so silence is what are you doing differently now when you're tempted to be silent? What are you doing it? You said okay, 40% improvement. That's still I mean 85 to 40%. That's still
Yeah.
that's significant improvement, but that's still it's a troubling number on the bottom.
Hmm.
So what can you tell me more about that situation? The silence. What's happening?
Yeah, so I mean, I just like I want to say a word, and I just like it just blocks. Like I just create like this kind of huge kind of pressure in my throat, and I just not be able to like exert a word. If I do exert a word, it'll kind of look speech disabled. So I like tend to hold it back and not even like say anything. So I would
What are
try
you
to
doing
handle
differently
this
now in that situation?
differently. I would just say that. Oh, sorry. I mean, I forgot what I was saying. Like I would just kind of like like be able to divert myself as quickly as possible and say, oh, I don't know, so what the question is asking. Sorry, I just blanked for a second.
Yeah.
Pass.
Okay. But you are, from what I understood you to say earlier, you are making an effort, a serious effort, to come out of those silences, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And the problem that you're having is probably we better address it with crutches 7 through 12, which I call voices. It's a way to, or you could also call it a speech style, a change in your speaking style. And I would say that for you to begin to build a comfort zone that's generalized, that's everywhere, if we could change your speech style and use one of these voices or a combination of them in crutches 7 through 12, it will give you a much higher comfort zone and bring you
Okay.
out of the silences a lot sooner. Now, there are two ways, combinations of crutches that would work. I guess I'll go to. Did you? It's not really a problem. Is it a problem that you're going to block and it's a specific word you're thinking when you're blocking, or is it just like the whole conversation?
It's a specific letter, like, okay, which I fear, like, and I'm like really like, I have no idea how fast my mind works, but I mean, if I like am trying to like express a thought, like, and the first word that pops in my mind is like, like just starts with G or whatever, like I like just automatically it triggers in my mind, and I just like, like I just have that block. So I mean, I become better at kind of anticipating these blocks, and that's really the like improvement I've had. I mean, I'm better in anticipating the blocks, and trying to use like just like certain crutches to go around it, or yeah,
If
in,
you
in that
if you
sense.
when you use crutch 6, that's changing, rephrasing the thought or
Hmm.
changing it.
Yes.
Now that's a kissing cousin of crutch 13, which is don't think about what you're going to say.
Hmm.
Say anything but what you're thinking.
Hmm.
And like I'm right now not thinking about any word I'm saying to you. And most
Hmm.
of the time when you're talking to me right now, most of the time you are not thinking about any of the words that you say. Isn't that true?
Well, I am kind of thinking about like some of the words, but I become better at not like thinking about it. I would
At
say if
some
I'm
of
in
the
a
words,
less
at
like
some of the
pressured
but
situation.
hold on. Don't split hairs on me. You just basically when I asked you the question, I said, "Isn't that true?" And you said, I've been doing a blah." You said about 10 words without thinking any word, and then you thought one word, and then you said some more words without thinking.
Hmm.
My point was, when you're talking to me, I can tell the difference. And when you're
Okay.
talking to me, most of the time, you're not thinking words. Most of the time.
Okay.
You'll think an occasional word, but
Hmm.
most of the time you're
Yes.
not.
Yes. That's
What I'm trying
true,
to
I
get you
guess.
to recognize is that all fluency is talking without thinking what you're going to say. That's all it is. And in many ways, crutch 13 is the only crutch anybody ever needs. The problem is because of this habit, this Satan guy who's hanging onto your back, and every time you open your mouth, he's trying to get between your words. Uh, it's a habit, and it's a magnetic, and it's
Hmm.
powerful. So it's there all the time, trying to get in between you and your words, and periodically it does so. and then you have to use a crutch. But you may say 5 or 10 words and then need to go around one, and then you'll say another 5 or 6 words. And if you don't get nervous, if you don't let yourself get nervous, you keep talking the same way. You'll have 5 or 10 fluent words and then an occasional skirt around a word, and then you have 5 or 10 more fluent words. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Do you think I'm not hearing the truth? Do you think I'm not hearing the truth? Are you fooling me?
Oh, no. I was just kind of confused because I'm not really, like,
You just said I'm
like the
not
thing
really.
is,
You just said I'm not really. Did you think any of those words?
oh,
No,
no.
you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to admit
Yeah.
that most of the words you say right now, you're not planning words.
Yes,
You're not thinking.
that's
You've got to
true.
recognize that.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
as I just said to somebody else an hour or so ago, you are guilty as charged of fluency. You are guilty. And you must accept your guilt. And you must
Okay.
accept the fact that you are significantly fluent right now. And what we're trying to do is open the floodgates, the dam that Satan throws in there periodically,
Mm-hmm.
and be fluent all the time. And, you know, as I say to many, many people, you know tens of thousands of words, and that's a truth. And every time you're going to get stuck, it's on one word or the first part of a word. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you've got this repository of thousands of words to choose from. And if you don't try and force this problem word, just use another word, synonym, similar word or phrase, or use a crutch. Skip the word, spell the word, drop the first letter, put something in front of it, a word or a sound. Tell a story about the word, rephrase the thought, whisper it, modulate it, think passionately, overpronounce it. There's so many things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And every one of them will work. Every one of them will work.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting your own level of fluency, you need to accept it more.
Okay.
You're way too strict on yourself, and fearing doesn't count because nobody. You want to get rid of it, and you will. I'm not saying ignore it. I'm just saying that nobody else knows you're fearing it. It doesn't show up in your speech. Nobody's recording it. Nobody's grading you on it. So forget it. You know, you only have to worry with your. You say, "Oh, we might lose the game on Sunday. We're playing for the championship of our touch football league or something, and we might lose." Well, you can think that if you want, but you might win too. So why are you sitting there thinking about you might lose? Don't think of that. Think about
Okay.
how you're going to win.
Yeah.
That's what I want you to do with your speech. Forget the fear. It's going to go away. It may take months after you stop stuttering, but it's going to go away. It can't live in a vacuum. You got to feed it stutters or it's going to die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in your case, one thing you can't feed it is undue silences. You can't be sitting there like a mummy, you know, or something. Like the cat's got your tongue. You can't be sitting there like that all the time either.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to be a big orator at this point in your life, this moment. But you can say things in less words and still participate and basically communicate the essentials that you need to communicate. So crutch number 6, rephrasing the thought, or crutch number 13, its cousin, saying anything but what you're thinking. Just letting your thoughts out, your urges out, which is what you do all the time with me, and I'm sure you do all the time. You do it throughout the day too.
Mm-hmm. With my friends. Yeah,
Sure you
sure.
do. And all of that's fluency. And every time you're fluent, you should be giving yourself a check mark, a star, a trophy, a pat on the back. Way to go, Daniel. You know, you should be celebrating those things mentally. Taking credit, take a bow. I'm doing a great job. I'm nailing this baby. I'm
Okay.
moving. I'm smoking. It's getting good. Now, as to the silences, crutch number 6 will work. Rephrase the thought. Say anything around it.
Mhm.
You think you want to have a sandwich. So you say, "Can I have a sandwich?" And you're thinking about kick, 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 or something. Don't say it. What's to eat around here? How does a guy get something, a little grub? Anything. You know what I mean. You do it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. That's true.
And you just keep it short. And don't grade yourself or, "Oh, no, Daniel had to use a crutch." So what? I use crutches. I still use crutches, not very often, but I still use them. I'm proud of it. I celebrate every one I use. Why? Because I didn't stutter. That's why. I won. I won the game against myself. Lee versus Lee. That's what life is. It's, can I master Lee? If I can master Lee, I'm going to have a good life. And if you can master Daniel, you're going to have a good life. But it's work. You got to take control. You can't just let every negative thing run you around like Satan stuttering, or someone who's making evil suggestions to you, or whatever. You can't just take them in. You got to reject them. Same thing here. So, okay, so the silences, 6 or 13 is fine. Now, if you want, do you ever, at this point, I assume you do, you're in school, correct?
Yes.
So you're asked to give presentations in class on occasion.
Yes.
And what do you do in those situations?
Um, it depends upon how big is the presentation. So in history class, for instance, we have like short presentations, maybe like 2 minutes long. I have like a few slides, whatever, and it's a very kind of relaxed. It's not being graded, and that's the situations like it's where I almost never stutter. Like it's almost non-existent,
Perfect.
But in Spanish class, where I'm not really like because it's because as with any foreign language, like you don't like know and can speak with passion yet. I mean, you're still trying to think about what word to use or whatever because it's a foreign language. You're not entirely like accustomed to it. So in those like situations in Spanish, I have a lot of trouble. That's the worst like kind of situation for me because I'm not exactly, I like cannot speak spontaneously because I don't know the language that well because it's Spanish or whatever. So I'll have to think about the word more, which causes more stuttering in that case
Would you
when
like
doing
to
Spanish
work?
presentations.
Would you like to work with a coach who speaks Spanish and do
That could
Spanish? Do your
actually help.
session and do your session in Spanish?
Yeah, that could
Because
actually
I've
help.
got one, a very
Yeah.
good one. His name is Javier, and he lives in Madrid, and he's a recent PWSS, and he speaks very well, and he was a very severe stutterer, much worse than you, much.
Okay.
And he's around 28 or something like that,
Nice.
and a super guy. And I will send him an email, and
Yeah. What's really funny is that on Tuesday I have like a 15-minute kind of oral presentation where I'll be recorded in Spanish. So
on Tuesday,
yeah, it's going to be about 12 to 15 minutes long. So
I will ask him when are you available Sunday and Monday.
um I'm available on Sunday at I would say any time for now.
Okay, and Monday.
Um Mondays I'm not available on Monday.
Okay, I'll tell him anytime Sunday. He's in Madrid, so you are in
I'm in
where are you?
Indiana,
Indiana.
Central Time. Central Time.
Yeah, so you're 6 hours earlier than he is.
Mhm.
So 10 a.m. for you is 4 p.m. for him.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
I mean, I
will
would
ask
work.
him. I don't know what he may not even be available at all on Sunday, but I will ask him. And if
Sure.
he isn't, he'll still send you an email and set something up for some time.
Sure.
But if he can do Sunday, he'll let me send him an email right now. You never know; he might be sitting at his desk.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's fine if he's not available. I mean, I'm just kind of like if I can get any kind of practice, that'll be great. You know.
Well, I would suggest uh, I'm going to put. Whoops. All right, he lives in Indiana. I think it's 7 hours earlier than you. Is my guess. Um, so 10 a.m. for him is 5 p.m. for you. Could you do something with him? Practice his presentation. He's learned a lot already. And is using crutches 1, 4, 6, and 9 quite well. You know, there's two ways. If you had to give a presentation,
Mm-hmm.
if we can practice one in English, and then you'll just use the same principles when you do it in Spanish. Do you have the book handy? My book.
Yes, I have it ready.
Open it to the dedication to
Okay.
you, the reader. It's like 2 or 3
Okay.
pages right under the cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right. Now, here's what I want to do. I want you to do two things. I'm going to do them, and line by line, and then I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. And that is to hold your tones. Ah, my name is Lee. I am going to read to you now. I don't have to do it like a robot. I can move my voice around. But the point I'm demonstrating is I'm holding a tone through my words. Say, I can hold my tone through my words and do it.
I can hold my tone through my words.
When I hold my tones,
When I hold my tones,
it's easier to link my words together.
it's easier to link my words together.
Isn't that true? I'm asking you.
This is yes, yes.
It is true. And I know it's true, but I want to know what you think about it.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree.
all right, now, that's one approach, and it's the easiest approach for a presentation. I got others, but this is the easiest one. Now, I want you to look at this to you, the reader thing here, and I'm going to
Okay.
read one line at a time, and I'm going to
Okay.
hold my tone and link my words together, and I will not talk fast either.
Okay.
That's what I want you to do. So imitate me. Most of us go through life
Most of us go through life
knowing only half of ourselves.
knowing only half of ourselves.
So we use only half of our abilities.
So we only use half of our abilities.
We suffer because we are strangers to ourselves.
We suffer because we are strangers to ourselves.
We have free choice
We have free choice
to accept or reject thoughts.
to accept or reject thoughts.
Nothing compels us to think anything
Nothing compels us to think anything
except our own desires.
except our own desires.
I don't like your delivery. You're not into it. I don't get any
Okay.
emotion out of you. Come on,
Okay, okay.
help me out here. Help me
Sorry,
out. I'm on the stage. I got an audience. You and I have an audience out there. They want to go, yay, way to go, Lee and Daniel. Nice job.
so uh should I use crutch number 9 too as well then? Like in
Extreme
addition to word number.
pronunciation, if you want to, sure.
Okay, okay.
All right. And so, um, but I want to feel it. I want you to. I want passion out of you. I want you to get
Okay.
involved here. Okay. So
Okay.
we have free choice
We have free choice
to accept or reject thoughts.
to accept or reject thoughts.
Nothing compels us to think anything
Nothing compels us to think anything
except our own desires.
except our own desires.
So use your mental switch
Use your mental switch
to dictate your thoughts.
to dictate your thoughts.
Believe that you can improve, and you will.
Believe that you can improve, and you will.
Now, you lost your. That was better. I felt
Mhm.
something, but
Okay.
you didn't hold your tones.
Yeah, yeah. See, yeah,
Now I want you to read it to me one stanza at a time,
Okay.
using your tones, pronunciation, linking your words, and giving me feeling.
Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Most of us go through life knowing only half of ourselves, so we use only half of our abilities. We suffer because we are strangers to ourselves. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. Use your mental switch to dictate your thoughts. Believe that you can improve, and you will.
Very good. Now, don't you feel that as you did that, oh, what's wrong with this? Hold on. I'm writing Javier at the same time I'm talking to you. Um, don't you feel that that was easy to do and fun?
Yes. Yeah, that was easy to do. Yeah.
and fun and
Yes, it
fun.
was it was fun too. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you're making it fun.
Hmm. I had a similar thing. It was actually this week. We were like reading Hamlet in my literature class, and I would I would never volunteer to read because I would always feared that I would block
Of
or something
course,
like that. But I decided to like just volunteer, and I was just only thinking about like passion linking words, and that was it really helped. That was really good
you
performance I
did a
did.
job. You're coming
Yeah,
out of it. You're coming
yeah.
out.
So that was
You're
like a
breaking
like a
out,
really
man.
good
You're
feeling.
breaking out.
Yeah.
You got to recognize your progress, and you got to replay all these positive events. And when the negative ones, ask yourself, what could I have done better? And then forget them.
Okay.
You know, the past, I don't want to say it doesn't count, but we can't change it, Daniel. And the future is unknown. We may never have a future. An asteroid might hit and we're gone, or maybe you'll. God knows, I don't want to say anything terrible, but I mean, you
Yeah.
never know about the future. But what you do know about is you're here right now, and you're going to celebrate that, and you're going to make the most of it. Every minute counts, and you're going to celebrate that. You're going to do your best. It's Daniel versus Daniel. You're not competing with anybody else. When you master yourself, you win. You win on all fronts, and you will be a success in the only place it counts, in your mind. Nowhere else does it really count. In the end, the whole world can be your fan. It's what's in your mind that's going to determine your happiness level, and you're in control
Hmm.
of that.
Yeah, that's
You're in
true.
control. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's entirely true.
And so you're going to celebrate all of this stuff. You're going to have a big success with your Spanish presentation on Tuesday, whether you talk to Javier or you don't. But hopefully you will talk to him. Um, all right, so let's do this again. And what are you thinking as you read now? Tell me the item. What are the items you're doing as you're reading here?
Well, I'm like thinking like first and foremost on extreme uh extreme renunciation, and I'm also thinking about linking words too.
Okay, and I want you to think about holding the tone,
Okay.
and I want you to think about passion.
Okay.
I want you to, when you give your presentation in Spanish, you want to write the words pronunciation, um, linkage, passion, holding tone. You might put holding tone first.
Okay.
And so I'll read this. No, I won't read it. You read it again to me. And
Okay.
I want you to take your time and I want you to look at all four of those words. You've written them down, have you? Did you
All
write
right.
them
Yeah.
down? You said tones is number one, um, linking is number two, pronunciation is number three, and passion is number four. And those are the
Okay.
words that determine how you're going to do this reading. So go ahead, knock me
Okay.
out.
Most of us go through life knowing only half of ourselves, so we use only half of our abilities. We suffer because we are strangers to ourselves. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. Use your mental switch to dictate your thoughts. Believe that you can improve, and you will.
Brilliantly done. I would have liked the last line to have come across, and you will, with a lot of passion. That's the punchline there. But that was. Don't you
Okay.
feel good about that? Didn't you feel good about that?
Yeah, it was good. That was good.
Celebrate it, man. Who
Yeah.
could who could have done it any better? Very few, believe me. You could
Hmm.
line up 10 of your classmates right now, and I'll bet not one of them could beat you what you just did. I'll bet you. If I asked them with no coaching or anything else, they said, all of you read it and record it. I'll bet you yours would be the best one.
Thank you.
It's true. Look, that's the mission. That's the goal. Um, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to send
Okay.
Javier this email, and I'm asking him to contact you if he has any time Sunday. Um, and I'll say if not, any time you have. Um, I'm saying he needs to practice a presentation in Spanish. He lives in Indiana, 7 hours earlier than you, I think it is. So 10 a.m. for him is 5 p.m. for you. Could you could you do something with him? Practice his presentation. Um, uh, Presentation in Spanish this Tuesday. He's learned a lot already and is using crutches 1, 4, 6, and 9 quite well. I'm now suggesting 1, holding tones through all words, 2, linking words, 3, extreme pronunciation, and 4, passion. All together. All together. I am practicing this um, with him in English. He has much more problem in Spanish. His email is below. Um, as is a link to my session with him today, which I'll send him. Okay, so listen, we will say goodbye, but let's do it together. Let's say goodbye to whoever's listening and watching. We always have my cat, sometimes my 3 dogs, and on occasion there's some PWS people out there. So you never know. So we're going to say, and you say after me, if I can say one word anywhere, anytime,
If I can say one word anywhere, anytime,
I can say any word anywhere, anytime.
I can say any word anywhere, anytime.
Okay, so Daniel and I now say farewell. Say farewell, Daniel.
Farewell.